Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of Learn Cool Stuff with Josh. Today we're going to learn how to do some sweet fire building stuff, because let's face it, when it comes to anything outdoors, survival, just having a good time, there is nothing more important than being able to build a good fire. So let's get to it. So the first thing we need to do to start a fire is start with our lowest key ingredient, tinder. Now tinder can be made out of a lot of different stuff. One of the awesome things we like to use is bark that's very fibrous. Now, something like this popple tree that is on the ground is going to give us some really nice fibrous bark. You can really see all these fibers here. My camera will focus. We're going to show you what to do with those just a little later on. Cedar is another tree with awesome fibrous bark for starting fires. Of course, these ones are still alive, so we're not going to take any of their bark. This poor cedar's had it rough. Got some nice holes in it. The woodpeckers have not been very nice, but it's still holding on. It's kind of like that guy from Monty Python, you know? I'm not dead yet. Another awesome ingredient for starting fires, as many people already know, is birch bark. It's got oils in it that allow it to burn even when wet, so it's fantastic. But we gotta remember, we never want to peel bark off a living tree. That bark is its skin. If we peel that skin off, it could get infected and die. And besides, you can find birch bark scattered all over the place near birch trees. Look at this beautiful piece right here. I think we'll keep that for later. Old man's beard is another super awesome natural fire starter. You can find it hanging off all sorts of dead limbs. The makeup of it's got a whole bunch of little air pockets in those little arms. Makes it really good for fire starting. Does this make me look wise? Dry grass can also be a really good part of your fire starting bundle. Maybe not the first part because it's a little grainy and a little thick and doesn't like to take a spark real quick, but it can be good for an outer layer. Of course, this grass all looks pretty green, which means there's water in it. Fortunately, we mow this lovely path and there's all kind of nice dry grass that they got mowed, so we're just gonna go ahead and grab on some of that, and I'm sure we can put it to good use. Cattails are also super good for getting that tinder going. You pull those babies apart and they are just fluffy and flammable. We don't need one for today though, so we're gonna leave these guys alone. So let's see what we've got here for different materials. Some nice dried grass. Got some old man's beard. Got that nice bark from a popple, very fibrous. We're gonna use that. And now, we also got some birch bark. We're gonna see what we can put together. So remember how I talked about our dry grass isn't going to be a good tinder by itself? Doesn't mean we can't use it. What we're going to use this for is the outermost part. So once that smaller stuff starts to burn, this will catch later. So what we want to do with this grass is kind of twist it. What we're going to try to do is make the shape of a bird's nest. Something that a bird would actually really like. This is going to allow us to put that smaller material inside of that pocket and allow it to burn nicely until this grass is ready to catch itself. So what I'm going to do with this bark is I'm going to work it till I get all those fibers broken apart. And I can really use those as some of the smaller starting bits of my tinder bundle. Work these for a little while. We'll see what we get to next. Now for our second layer, we're going to lay some of these bigger bits we got out of that bark, some of these larger fibers. Those are going to catch pretty quick, and that'll help build this fire. Now in the process of grinding up all of that bark, you're going to wind up with some really fine particulates. That is what you're going to want to use for your very, very last layer. That stuff's going to light up super quick. Once that lights, it's going to get that slightly bigger stuff going, and then that is eventually going to light the grass, which will give you a nice pocket of fire, and then you can start your kindling. We'll check that part out next. Now when it comes to actually lighting the fire, it really depends on what you've got for a tool to do it with. If you've got matches or a lighter, you can actually start with some bigger stuff. So if I had something like that, I might go straight for my birch bark. Birch bark likes to light up really well with an open flame, so matches or a lighter is going to cook this off and you are going to get a fantastic fire from it, rain or shine. So that might be your first move. You won't even have to build a tinder bundle like this. But if you don't have a lighter, turns out I actually forgot mine today, you may go with a more primitive method. Now fortunately, I'm not going to be using 2 sticks and rubbing them together to make a spark, okay? I won't teach you that one today. But I just happen to keep in my vehicle and in my camp pack at all times a set of flint and steel. So this is semi-primitive. We'll teach you how to use it. So flint against steel makes sparks. Now this whole block isn't actually flint. There's this bar on the side that is. Now fortunately you can pick these up at almost any outdoor store. This particular one I picked right up at Walmart for like $4. Super easy. Now this big block is actually magnesium. Magnesium is very flammable. So what you can easily do is with your handy dandy pocket knife that you always carry on you for situations like this, because you never know when you're going to need it. If I'm out camping, I may even have a larger fixed blade. But for now, this will work. Utilizing this knife, which is made of steel, I can actually scrape off some of this magnesium into my tinder kit. That'll allow it to light up even faster. So let's check that out. So here I'm going to use my knife to scrape some of this magnesium right into my tinder bundle. Now what I'm going to do is use my knife against the flint to strike a spark. Don't worry about dulling your knife up. The steel of your knife is far harder than this flint. It won't even affect it. So here we're just going to get a good strong press and strike downwards. Looks like my bark is a little bit wet and doesn't want to catch. So let's try introducing some of this old man's beard into the mix and see if we can get that fire going strong. Now that we have our tinder bundle lit, we can introduce smaller sticks to it.